Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to share some tips and tricks for when you're making your own polymer clay earrings. So first up, you've got the type of polymer clay that I use. I sometimes use Sculpey 3 for the little designs that I do, but I would never use this on the base as they may break very easily. The Souffle is pretty good to use, and same goes for the Premo. They don't break easily and they come out quite flexible. Next up is probably my favorite, and that is Cernit, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's super nice and easy to work with and are super flexible after they're baked. So here I've got an example of Sculpey 3 that I use on the base, and they just snap off so easily, and this is after they're baked for an hour in the oven. So they definitely break a lot easier, and I would never use them on the bases. And so for this one I used Premo, and I use a mixture of Premo and Souffle, and you can see that it's nice and flexible, it doesn't break easily, and I would highly recommend using either Souffle, Premo, or even Cernit for your bases. You can pretty much use any oven as long as it has a bake setting and that the temperature is accurate. The oven that I use is the Sunbeam multi-function oven, and I have it on the bake setting. I definitely recommend having an oven thermometer just so you can make sure the temperature is accurate, because all ovens are different. I bake my earrings for an hour at 130 degrees Celsius. It's a lot safer to leave your pieces baking for longer, as they can cure better and won't break easily. I store all my clay in a container like this, and it isn't airtight at all. I just make sure it's away from direct sunlight and kept somewhere cool, like in a cupboard. I've never had any issues with them being in a container like this, and you just have to make sure that they aren't sitting under the sun. Sanding your pieces down is my least favorite thing. If you have a metal shaped cutter like this, you will usually have a much cleaner cut. I have lots of different shaped cutters that are 3D printed, and so they don't have that clean cut. So what I do is I just use my blade to trim off the edges before baking them. What you can also do is after you bake them, you can trim off any of the thick edges with your blade. Then you can use really fine sandpaper to sand off the edges. The only thing about using sandpaper is that sometimes it leaves little scratches, but you can always buff them out with a nail buffer. I actually have a handheld Dremel that I use to buff out all my pieces, and it saves so much time. I'll make sure to have a link down below in the description with all the materials I mentioned in the video. So you can see here that there's a huge difference once you sand the edges off. You've got a much cleaner look. I always poke the holes into my pieces before baking because I find drilling holes after such a mess. I just use a dotting tool to poke little holes in for the jump rings to go through. If you've got any more questions or any other things that you want to ask me, please feel free to comment down below, or even DM me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks for watching!